Welcome back. This is Arise News. You're watching the morning show with me, Biola Labi. Osaru Alile is an interior design professional, product designer, and social entrepreneur. She holds an AA and a BFA in interior design from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. Osaru is the founder of Caxton Alile Living, a pro-African creative force producing light fixtures and home decor products. Osaru is extremely passionate about creativity, education, and empowering young Nigerian entrepreneurs. Her passion inspired her to start the initiative Careers in Interior Design, inspiring and training young people in interior design and related fields. Thank you so much, Osaru, for being on the show.
Thank you.
So as someone that as someone that knows you and knows your work and that knows that you've been in this industry for a while, one of the things that I'm so inspired by is your work with young people and helping young people understand the field and the business of interior design. Why was this so important to you, especially because there's so many people doing in this industry? Why was it important to make sure that young people actually understood what the industry was and how to operate?
Okay, so first of all, I'm young as well.
So but hey, younger.
Okay, for me,
But also, like, you're almost like a peer educator.
Yes, exactly, peer educator and younger, and even people that are older than myself. But for me, it was really important for me to let people understand what the profession of interior design is. So I went to school at the Fashion Institute of Technology, like you said earlier, for interior design, and I have a bachelor's in interior design. And moving back home to Nigeria, I found that a lot of people didn't understand what the profession was. So it became just a thing of, oh yes, I want to do interior design, and I just wake up one day and go and buy a couch and buy rugs from the market, and I'm an interior designer. So that's fine, like you could do that as well. But I needed people to understand that this is actually a profession which you can be educated for, which has like systems, and there's things that you have to do to be a professional in the field. It is not just waking up and doing it overnight. So for me, it helps me to teach people, because clients sometimes will not understand that there's more to what I'm doing.
And the best way to learn is to teach.
Is to teach, yes, exactly. Yes. So there's just, oh, okay, you're an interior designer, so what are you doing? Can't you just tell me what's going to happen over here? And I'm like, no, there's actually systems that come into place. I have to actually do study, I have to do research to understand why am I even here in the first place. Like if I'm doing someone's office, what's your brand? What's your brand manual? Can I see the... People used to get confused that I'll ask them all these questions, like, what's your business with all of these things? But it was important, and I'm like, if people can understand what it is that I'm doing as an interior design professional, then it helps the clients to understand it. And it's just like a ripple effect. If the people that are actually calling themselves interior designers actually understand what they're doing, then the clients also...
It changes the industry.
It changes the industry as a whole.
And at the end of the day, it's sort of every little bit changes the industry, and the more an industry is changed, the further it can grow in Nigeria. Yeah. So tell me, you're a product designer as well, so it's not just about doing the interior design, you also design products.
Yes, I do.
Help people understand how those two things come together and live side by side.
So yes, interior design is one thing. I do product design, making light fixtures made here in Nigeria, handmade here in Nigeria. The difference is interior design is actually creating a space and building ideas and making a space into either a home or into a livable office. For products, it's just actually deciding that, oh, what do I want this particular piece to look like? So for us, we do lamps. So we do pendant light fixtures, we do floor lamps, we do table lamps, we do wall lamps, and everything is all pro-African. So the fabrics, the materials we use woods that are homegrown here in Nigeria. We use fabrics that like Ankara and Ashoke and things like that. And for me, it was kind of just filling a gap, really, because there's so many times where I wanted to do a project and I wanted a particular light fixture and I couldn't find it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me start creating this myself. Wow. So we've been building on that slowly. In the past 2 years, we've built on that product.
And these are some pictures of those lamps.
Oh, yes, so that's the Bridges collection. So it's a B2B focused business. So we produce for interior designers, we produce for retail stores, and also we have customers, one-on-one customers. But it was actually just really to fill a gap. And also I have a passion for designing products. Like when I was in school for interior design, actually at one point I wanted to change to product design, but I was like, you know what, let me just stay in interior design and also do the products on the side. So it's part of my passion.
And I mean, you basically, you made sure you were educated on sort of both sides of it. So definitely. It's not like you just woke up one day and said, I want to do a product design. You actually know the elements that go into designing a product, pricing a product, manufacturing a product, and producing a product.
Yes.
What do you feel is one of the parts of the interior design industry in Nigeria that needs to be strengthened? Like if there were like 3 things that need to be strengthened, what are they?
I'm going to go back a little bit. So earlier this year, we did this thing called the Pan-African Interior Design Summit.
Yes.
And what it was a summit that, I would explain this is understanding the profession of interior design, the practical ways to be able to get through from point 1 to point 100. So one of the things that I would say definitely is, and I know I've said this before, but it's really, really key, is a person who calls themselves an interior designer to actually understand what it is to be one. So that means understanding that there are different types of interior design. So a lot of people don't even know that they are. So there's residential design, there's commercial design, there's hospitality, there's like different institutional, but people didn't understand that. So.
And institutional means that, so if you're working for one company, you end up working for all their branches around the world. I mean, you basically become like a brand partner.
Yes, exactly. So that's what it is. And a lot of people didn't know that it was healthcare interior design. So that part is like educating people as to what the different aspects of interior design are. So that's one. And then understanding that there are different styles of interior design as well. So if I'm doing interior design, I can do an African style, I can do eclectic, I can do classic, like there are different styles. And another thing that I think for me is very important is understanding what our style is here in Nigeria. We don't have a brand manual for what our style should be, so we're developing it. So we're creating it for ourselves. And
so when you look at residential in Nigeria, what do we tend to lean to? What is like the majority of homes you go into? Are they more modern? I mean, especially like when you look at cities, because most of the times it's very city-based.
Yeah.
So if you go to certain cities, you'll find that it's much more heavier. Do you find that in Nigeria, like in certain cities? I find
that it is actually extremely heavy for where we are, because you think it's a warm,
tropical,
it's warm, and then, but I think we just like
when you go to Miami, it's very like there's all so clean and it's white and it's silver and
we actually really go the heavy route here for some interesting reason. And I think it's more based on aesthetics, like what we see and we like.
Or maybe some of it has to do with colonial influence because it is so
yes,
heavy.
Exactly. That as well. And also, I guess that the materials that we're used to here as well are quite heavy, like the ashokis and the heavy fabrics, and we're just used to it. And it kind of works. It looks nowadays people are really into what their spaces look like. 10 years ago, people cared, but not as much, but now people really care. So they always want to know, oh, what am I doing for my drapes? What kind of flooring am I doing? All of that. And they care for the decoration, but also for the space as a whole. So the architectural details of the space, people tend to care about it now. They want to know what their lighting is, their ceilings. Like, I get calls all the time about people's spaces, because people are starting to understand that it's important for your space to look and feel good for you to live comfortably. So it's not just about, oh, it looking nice. It actually affects the state of your being. Like, if you have a space that looks nice and feels great, you want to go home, you want to be at the office, and then things like plants and all of that actually help to, to make your space feel and look nice. So it's actually, I think residential interiors is definitely taking an upper stand here in Nigeria now.
And with residential interiors, are you finding that people are getting you involved at a very early stage, especially from
Not as early as I would like.
How early would you like?
Immediately you know that you're buying a house, tell me. Yeah, so it's almost like I want to know from when the architect knows, because sometimes the architect has an idea, which is awesome, they're doing what they're doing, but then there's some interior influences that can affect what the architect is doing. And it's very helpful to know from the beginning so you don't have to make changes, break walls, do all of that. So if you do everything that you're doing, and then I come and I say, I want to put a TV here, and I do not want any wires flying around. So I'm going to tell you that, sorry, we're going to have to break this wall. If I knew before, or if I was putting on the projects beforehand, then I would have had all those things put into the wall beforehand so you don't have to break any walls or move anything around. And it may be like, so what if I wanted to do a Moroccan style, for example, and I wanted to do arched walkways? I would have done that beforehand, so you don't have to now fix things. So it's always good to bring your interior designer way before the project starts so that they influence, the design as well.
Aesthetically, where do you feel that we're going? Like when it comes to, I mean, like things like wires flying around. I mean, are we getting more sensitive about that in our homes?
Definitely.
Also, too, like where are we going? Like sort of when you see the direction of where we're going with sort of our taste, our design. I mean, things that you're finding to be much more consistent now in residential. And then I want to.
Okay, in residential, I think people are starting to definitely understand that the clean lines actually make a big difference. So I have clients that would actually tell me that, oh, I don't want wires. Before, I used to have to try to convince people. They would say, oh, we could use trunking, that little boxy thing that you put the wires in, and I would cringe from the bottom of my tummy, like, no. But now people actually understand that, and they'll tell you that, oh, I don't want that as well. So it's getting easier.
Okay.
In terms of direction of style, definitely people are wanting more African influence, which I'm very happy about. My general style is actually not all the way African, but I feel like it's important for us to use those influences in our space because we have to own who we are, our culture, our style, our essence. And, you know, if in our home, that should be there as well. You know, and people are starting to also want to have antique pieces. They'll say, oh, yeah, I had this from my grandmother's house, and I would like to add it into my space. So it's getting more and more exciting, definitely.
So, I mean, we're wrapping up now. So, with the summit, is this going to be something you do annually?
Yes, it is.
So when is the next one coming up? And where should we be looking out for it?
We're actually going to do like a little something in September.
Okay.
And then next year's one in March, we're going to do the big one. So this year we had 45 speakers from all over the world that spoke. And
was it live streaming the whole time?
No, it wasn't live streaming. We pre-recorded, but it was an online summit. So everybody just got to, you know, you get a password and you go online, log on and watch. And we had over 800 people that registered for it, which was pretty amazing.
Fantastic.
So you can tell that the interior design world is like, everybody's like, I want to be a part of this.
Yes. Were they all practitioners or also just sort of?
No, so it was people that were interested in the field. It was a soft landing for people. And we spoke a lot about African integration, like how do we do things with other people from other countries. So I had people from Nairobi talking, from South Africa, from everywhere. So we all had conversations that were like, how do we work together somehow to build our industry in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria? And how do we, if I wanted to get something from Ghana, for example, it's more difficult for me getting it from England. And then we spoke about that, what can we do? And I pushed some of the buttons a little bit with some of the people that spoke. And I'm like, you please start this and you guys start that. And we've had really, really good feedback from that.
Oh, wow.
And it's been amazing.
Fantastic. I mean, our earlier guest also talked about distribution networks and developing them. So once again, distribution networks continues to be a challenge in almost every business. Osaru, I want to say thank you so much for being here.
This was fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of the morning show today. I'm Biola Alabi. Thanks to my guests for joining me and to you at home for watching. Goodbye.